Hi, this is David Swanson at Democrats.com and AfterDowningstreet.org. There was a cartoon in some newspapers this morning that showed a donkey representing the Democratic Party then and now. And then he says, "This war is just about cheap oil." And now he says, "Where's all the cheap oil?" But of course the position of peace activists and of Congressman Dennis Kucinich, basically, within the Democratic Party, then was that the war would be, among other grounds, for control of the oil and profits for the oil companies. And it has been. The position of the Democratic Party has been not to mention oil at all, then or now or in between. After the war was underway for years, Congressman David Obey screamed at Congressman Dennis Kucinich in a Democratic caucus meeting for suggesting that oil might have anything to do with it. In a column by Marie Coco today, which to her credit points out that Congressman Kucinich's 35 articles of impeachment are worth reading, but suggests that they're not worth doing anything else with, also suggests that his article on control of the oil is specious. That is the Democratic Party's position at best. Of course, the position that is the acceptable position for pundits, for the media, for Democrats, and for Republicans is that the war must have been for something else. We must be occupying Iraq for some reason, but we're not going to go into what it might be. Now, Alan Greenspan, of course, among others, has blurted out the obvious and politically inconvenient to mention what everyone knows, that the war is for oil. But you haven't seen that in the media, on the talk shows, in the newspapers. Now, Tim Russert on Meet the Press, prior to the invasion, had Congressman Dennis Kucinich on to argue against invading and occupying Iraq. Let's watch a bit of that interview.
Congressman, you made a very strong charge against the administration, and let me show you what you said on January 19th. Why is the administration targeting Iraq? Oil. What do you base that on?
I based that on the fact that there is $5 trillion worth of oil above and in the ground in Iraq, that individuals involved in the administration have been involved in the oil industry, that the oil industry certainly would benefit from having the administration control Iraq, and that the fact is that since no other case has been made to go to war against Iraq, for this nation to go to war against Iraq, oil represents the strongest incentive.
Do you believe the President of the United States would risk the lives of American men and women for oil?
I think that to answer that question would be to put a focus on a person, and I think the policy is what we have to talk about, that this policy to go against Iraq was promulgated even before 9/11, and the day after 9/11, the Secretary of Defense in a meeting of the National Security Council said that we could use this moment to go after Iraq, even though there was no connection. I think that when a president commits the young men and women of this country to battle, that it should only be when there is an imminent threat to this country, and that I believe, most sincerely, that one of the motivating factors involved in this effort to strike against Iraq is the desire on the part of some to be able to control the oil interest in Iraq. I believe that.
So there you have it. Now, Meet the Press has been wrong for years. And they have not had Congressman Dennis Kucinich on since May of 2004, despite his leadership as the opposition to the biggest disaster and the biggest news story of recent years. Meet the Press should have Congressman Dennis Kucinich on now, alone, for a full half hour to discuss the substance of 35 articles of impeachment against President George W. Bush, including one about invading a foreign country, among other grounds, to control its natural resources. Go to Democrats.com right now and sign a petition urging Meet the Press to perform the duty of a communications outlet in a democratic nation. Meet the Press has been wrong, wrong, wrong. It's time to put some substance, some perspective, and some of the viewpoint of the majority of the American public on our airwaves. Do it now, Democrats.
And why act like you care about the troops in Iraq? Cause if you did, you would let them fly back. It's cause of you them planes got hijacked. You also the reason Katrina victims had to die like that. They say you was hesitant, we say you was negligent. It's about time for niggas to end these